Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Hello friends, this is Vijay Bhambwani here, and I'm back in this video to basically answer one very nagging worry that many of my viewers must be definitely having about the most burning issue in the market right now: Russia and Ukraine. Are they going to go to war? Will there be a big decline in the markets because of that? Can we expect earth-shaking volatility in the markets? And more importantly, should we sell out our portfolio holdings and go to the safety of cash? Now, there are two things that I always tell traders in the market, and whenever I meet them in seminars or training sessions or wherever. The first thing is, nothing happens in the financial markets without a reason, and since we are talking about financial markets, the reason has to be financial too. And the second aspect is that we traders are not expected or required to box, run or swim faster than our opponents. We are brain warriors. We think with our heads, we fight with our heads, and we win with our heads too. Alright? So I practice what I call a 360-degree worldview, which depends on the cause and effect theory, and therefore once I know the cause, I can guesstimate as to how long the effect will last, so I can place my money on the chessboard called the market and position it from one square to the other so as to get the best possible results. I'm going to share some of my thoughts on what's happening in Ukraine right now, and you can basically feel free to agree or disagree. My comment section is always open to feedback from your side. Now you see, the first and foremost thing is that you need to understand what the history of Ukraine versus Russia is and why what is happening, and therefore you can estimate or guesstimate rather as to how long it will last. You see, Russia was earlier known as the Soviet Union. As the word union suggests, it was a conglomerate of many erstwhile countries which were loosely cobbled together, and they were all obviously under the Communist Party, and a premier by the name of Mikhail Gorbachev, still alive, a great statesman, who in the 1990s triggered off a movement or triggered off something called Glasnost. Now, Glasnost in Russia means openness, transparency. Earlier, the Communist Party just issued orders and everybody had to obey them. But in Glasnost, there was consultation, there was involvement. So therefore, many of these countries actually preferred to splinter away over a period of time. Mr. Putin, Vladimir Putin, is an ex-KGB chief and therefore extremely conservative, old school Communist Party member. He is basically of the opinion, as there are many of the old school Communist Party school of thought, that Mikhail Gorbachev's policy of Glasnost has resulted in breaking Russia apart and to be able to dominate the world and be a single world power. Russia must be united, and therefore this is a unification process by Putin. Which is why I think diplomacy, talking across the table, trying to give him sops, threatening him with economic sanctions, boycotting him from exporting oil, gas or metals and food grains, etc., will not really work too much. Because he will basically, and he is a very wily, very shrewd, very smart politician come KGB officer. He'll basically tire out people, he'll keep on extended negotiations and keep troops at the border and therefore wear out his opponents. In the interim, there is something in the armed forces called trench fatigue. When two sides of when two opposite armies are positioned against each other and they've dug their trenches, their soldiers are in their trenches, they're all pointing their gun sights at the opposite party. Over a period of time, indiscipline, stress, and even trench fatigue sets in. If one accidental shot is fired, it might actually trigger a war. Now, Putin is basically hoping that over a period of time, either the battle, the preparation of battle, or even the rhetoric of battle will result in trench fatigue, and therefore either the NATO forces will withdraw or they might trigger a cataclysmic war. The other aspect is that the people initially will suffer from shock and awe. All right? Especially, I've made a video saying 40% of all active traders in the market today are under the age of 30. So these new traders have not seen what a bear market looks like, what a decline looks like. So these guys are going to experience a serious decline initially. But is it the end of the universe kind of a scenario? Absolutely not. Let me take you back in time. I've been trading these markets since 1986, and I'm going to give you a list of what I have seen. So in the 1990s, at the beginning of the 1990s, I saw Gulf War I. The American forces, coalition forces, UK, France, Germany, etc., bombed Iraq. All right. Now, thereafter, in 1992, Prime Ministerial candidate Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated. In 1992, there were bomb blasts. In 1995, there were bomb blasts again. At the turn of the century on Y2K, there were basically Y2K related worries which triggered a dot-com bust in the month of March 2000. Let's not forget the 2001 9/11 attacks on the World Trade Centers in America. Those were shocking events. The markets reacted, but they pulled back. In 2002, 2003 attacks, US attacks on Afghanistan, US attacks on Iraq. We've seen it all. The market survived, and look at where it is now. So, what will happen? There's something called recency bias. Recency bias in behavioral science says human beings tend to focus A, on things that are nearer to them, and B, something that has happened in the recent past. All right? Do remember that on 15th of August 2021, that's not even so far ago, not too distant past. We basically woke up when we switched on our televisions on 15th August 2021. We woke up and switched on our television, and we were confronted with the news of how the Taliban was swiftly but surely running over Afghanistan, and the US forces, the armed forces, were simply panicking and evacuating out of the country. What happened? Do you think the market got worried for it for too long? And remember, Afghanistan is in our backyard. Ukraine is far, far away. So the markets are going to say, okay, this is worrying. For a brief period of time, some companies which are doing a lot of export-import business with Russia, their payments might get stuck. Their orders might shrink a little bit, but the market moves on. Another case in point, in 2014, I used to see a shocking video, of course, with different people, of the ISIS. All right. The familiar, all too familiar video would be a Western or maybe even a Middle East citizen would be made to sit in front of the camera, and one of the ISIS fighters would simply behead him. Every time this video would crop up, markets would fall, gold would rise, and there would be a little bit of a pandemonium. But over a period of time, what really happened? Markets moved on. Markets moved on. The fear that oil prices will go through the roof did not really work out. Oil prices actually fell. So what will happen with the Ukraine-Russia tension? Let's take a very concise, very forensic kind of a view, a cause and effect view. Russia is a major exporter of aluminium, copper, nickel. We are already seeing prices of these metals zoom up. We are already seeing flight to safety and safe haven buying in gold and silver. So the markets have already started doing what they do best in case of defensive investments. Run to bullion. All right. We have already seen oil and natural gas prices jump up anticipating war. But frankly, this was my worry also. I was expecting that there would be a slight worry about force majeure. Now, force majeure is a clause in any contract which says I'm going to buy or maybe sell something, and due to some circumstances beyond my control, earthquakes, wars, acts of God, acts of man, circumstances beyond my control, I may not be able to honor my commitments. That's force majeure. I was worried that the market would worry that this war-like situation might lead to a force majeure by the Russians where their oil and natural gas supplies are concerned. But the Russians have already said that supplies will continue seamlessly. So I think the markets are going to get calmer about it. There's no need to panic. The other thing is Ukraine. Ukraine is a very, very mineral-rich country, and it is the breadbasket of the region, just like Punjab is the breadbasket of India. Ukraine exports a lot of wheat. It is because of Ukrainian wheat that Russia has a lot of muscle power in the food grain international export markets. So, can wheat supplies get disrupted? Yes, they possibly can. But wheat is already expensive, and agricultural commodities markets in America has already priced in whatever it needed to price in. So base metals have already priced in, and they are still pricing in. If bullets get fired, yes, prices might go up a little bit. Will this worry be perpetual? Not at all. Bullion is already up. Gas and oil prices are already up, but the Russians have said we'll continue to supply. Remember, they need money to fight a war. So I don't think they're going to shut off the tap and say, okay, no more gas and no more oil for the West. I think as long as there is a war, money will be required and the Russians will sell. If at all there is protracted tension over a period of time, believe me, the markets will move on. Will the Russians give up after Ukraine? I can tell you something with a certain degree of conviction. I don't think this will stop. Once a powerful leader like Putin has come and he said, I want to reunite the countries that have broken out from the erstwhile Soviet Union, he will continue to do so. The markets will continue to get worried for a period of time and then will move on, and it will be business as usual. So should you be losing your night sleep? Should you be sleeping with your lights on in the night? No, I don't think so. Your long-term portfolio is going to be fine. It's going to be just fine. Don't worry about that. On this optimistic note, I bid goodbye to you, not before reminding you to click like on this video if you liked what you saw. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already done so. Click on the bell icon to receive instant alerts about fresh videos being put up out here. Good, bad or ugly, you're always welcome to post comments. And help me reach out to fellow like-minded investors and traders by recommending my videos to your family and friends. Thank you for your patience, my friends. Till we meet again in my next. This is Vijay Bhambwani signing off for now. Do take very good care of yourself, your health, your family, and your investments and trades. Bye-bye for now.